you just brought that up, so we got to touch on that. I know you're very against steroids, right? That's something
I'm
that's
very against a lot. Okay, so that's a touchy subject, right?
Am I gonna go?
people are watching right now. What would you say is what's the best piece of advice that you could tell some like troubled kid out there, you know what I mean, to help them for their future? What's a piece of advice that you could give them? Maybe it's something you teach at the gym, say at the gym to your students. What's something you could instill on people coming from where you came from to the lowest of the lows to the highest of the highs? Because you've seen it all facets of life, and a lot of people never get to have that journey. You know what I'm saying? So you've learned a lot in that process.
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think it's very individual based off the circumstances. Like why are you feeling the way that you're feeling? But when you, I don't have like a specific quote or a simple way to say it, but recognizing the power that you have and the reason that you are where you are is because of your choice, right? Like Jocko had a great book about, right, extreme ownership. I'm sure you guys have heard of that, right?
Yep.
That was life-changing for me, right? I read it like during my divorce and it was like the perfect time for it, you know? But that is kind of along those same lines, right? Where, you know, take ownership of your life and know that the reason that things happen to you is because you chose for them to happen to you. You know, and whatever you want that to be, right? If you want to grow your wealth, then, you know, it's going to grow because of what you did. If you want to have a family, it's going to happen because of the choices that you made. If you want to be a champion, it's going to happen because of the choices that you made. So, you know, just whatever kind of speech I would give would be to empower that person to recognize that it's their choice. Every single thing in your life, right? It's your fault.
I think that's important because, especially nowadays, I would speak on this. A lot of people don't look in the mirror. They're always pointing fingers. I could be one to blame myself for something. I'm like, this, but then I got to take a step back. Look in the mirror, dude. You made that choice. Stop pointing the finger and take ownership for what you're doing. And I think that's very important from.
And that's what I thought the Jocko book was very powerful. I suggest everybody read it. And like I said, I read it during a divorce when I was pointing the finger a lot, right? Like it's, you know, what you doing this to me for? Like, why am I here? You know, and then you realize like, well, I'm here because of me, you know, and not necessarily, and that's not necessarily like I did something wrong, but you know, that's why you got to read the book. It gets pretty deep into that, right? It's like the choices that I made led me to here, period. And, you know, I guess next, you know, once you get beyond that, it's when I kind of get into the Musashi, right? If you read Musashi's Dokudo, the 21 Rules of Life, if you ever heard of this, The Way of Walking Alone, first rule is accept things the way they are. And I think that's a gigantic one because people do not look at things realistically. Like, this is what it is. You know, like because you're reframing it in some weird way doesn't change the way it actually is. And that's such a common theme that I see, you know, where people are very non-self-aware, or think that things are just going to happen out of nowhere. So no, accept it the way that it is. And that just goes right back to empowering yourself. Like it's your power. This is the way it is. You have the power to change it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, you know, people are not a lot. Well, there are a lot of people out there that are born with up lives, right? And they go their whole lives complaining about why didn't I have parents there? Or why did I grow up in this bad area? Or why did this? Why that? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Instead of just facing the adversity head on and thinking to themselves, all right, I'm right now in this situation. How am I going to improve my aura and change my trajectory to have a better future instead of just about that was out of their control or circumstances that they had, finding a purpose to get to where they want instead of complaining about where they were at.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add to that is you said how can I improve this? And it's like, no, who is going to improve that? Right?
Gotta be yourself.
It's got to be you. And
Yeah.
are you going to be the person that can improve that? Are you going to get up when you need to get up? Are you going to go to bed when you need to go to bed? Right? You know, it's who, not how. Right? It's a what book was that? I like quoting books. I read them all the time. The Meaning of Life or something like that. God, I can't remember the dude's name, but he's a Holocaust survivor, right?
Okay.
And he was a psychologist, went through the Holocaust, and he started realizing, like, okay, certain people are getting through this, right? Some people are just dying, right, because they've lost all meaning, right? But some people are surviving through this. He's like, how are they doing that? Well, it's not how, it's because they have a why. So he removed, okay, how do I get through this? There's no how, right? You're in the Holocaust,
Right.
right? There's no how, like you just live. But when you have that meaning, I think that was the quote, right? Is that when you know your why, you can survive anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Mind is a powerful thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they say the mind is the hardest thing to conquer. You know what I mean? It really, well, maybe other people have different opinions on that, but in my opinion, conquering your mind is the hardest thing. Conquering the doubt, conquering the depression, conquering the intruding thoughts. You know, just being able to control your mind, being able to control your thought patterns. It's so hard. What would you recommend to somebody out there that's striving for better and struggling with mental health or struggling with whatever in life? What's the best either book on philosophy or self-help book or just book that inspired you the most to help you get to where you're at?
Yeah, well, I don't mean to be all contrarian, but I would first, when people frame it as like the mind is the hardest thing to conquer, I think that's a poor framing, right? It's like, it is, that doesn't mean it's an easy thing to conquer, but I'm never going to say it's like the hardest thing to conquer, right? It is a conquerable thing. So what does it matter if it's easy or hard, right? If it is conquerable, then I'm going to conquer it, right? Not, again, I don't mean to be all contrarian.
No, no.
Yeah,
I'm very particular about like language, you know, and how it's something I worked with a sports psychologist on a long time ago. And, you know, those tiny little words that you start putting in, you know, really go a long way, right? You ever heard of the book, which is what I would, exactly what I would recommend, As a Man Thinketh?
I haven't heard of that.
Very short, easy read. That's why I suggest it to people all the time. It just comes from that Bible verse, as a man thinketh, so he is. And that's exactly what it is. You know, the thoughts that go through your head, that's what creates your reality. And that's when, again, that sports psychologist, he was really big on framing, right? Those words, all the language you use has to be very particular. And when you use the right wording and frame things the right way, yeah, even, you know, Jocko talked about it, right? When he was talking about how bad things happened to him, and he says, I just say good, right? So he just reframed it into, okay, this is an obstacle. This isn't the end. This is something good. Now I have to push through this. Cool. Let's go.
Okay.
But yeah, As a Man Thinketh, absolutely superb book. I listen to it occasionally on Audible. Like, I'll just go for a walk. I think it's like 2 hours at the most, maybe even less. Just go for a walk and listen to that book. And very simple, very straightforward. You know, I already gave you the basic rundown. It just, you know, just drives that into your mind. Listen to it.
Have you ever thought about writing your own book on just all the adversity you faced in life and how you overcame it, or just a book in general about just the life lessons by Matt? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I have a newsletter, right? Immortal Wisdom.
right. But you know what I
that's-
mean? Like a,
Yeah, you know, I have thought about it. You know, it's one of those things, like, it's hard because you're like, I'm not the expert. Yeah, maybe it's like, you know, putting myself down a little bit or being a little bit too humble, but you feel like you know, I'm not the expert, right? Like, not yet. Like, I still got ways to go. And then you're 80 and you're like, dude, I still got more to learn, you know. And then, then you're 90 and you're dead and you're like, I should have done it. But, you know, you could die tomorrow too. So,
Correct.
it has crossed my mind, but yeah, you know, and I'm also discovering how I did a lot of it too, right? That's what's cool about doing like interviews like this, where I'm like, I don't even know how I got through some of that. You know, it wasn't like I was consciously thinking like, bro, you got to have integrity and push through this, you know, like I'm just like, I just made up my mind and did it. You know, to me, it was very simple,
Yeah.
you know, but then when I kind of look back in retrospect, peel back the layers and kind of, you know, meditate on it or whatever, what have you, you know, that's when you kind of realize, okay, like this that they're saying in all these fancy words, it sounds great to inspire someone. Like I just didn't say it that way. I said 2 words, you know, like do it.
So you meditate often?
Fairly regularly. Yeah.
Is that something you would recommend to people to help them get through their day better, or is it something
Okay.
else? How does it help you?
Okay, so that's a funny one, right? So if you've kind of peeked out everything that you can do to help your mind, I think it's great. I don't like it being like a step one thing. I use it for sort of different things, right? The best meditation in the world is martial arts. Okay, like everybody, like the one of the purposes of meditation, one of the biggest purposes is like getting into the present moment, right? Okay, if I grab your neck right now, are you gonna be in the present moment?
Oh yeah.
Okay, there you go. But like that is the ultimate present moment. If you do yoga, like you're forcing yourself into that present moment, and then your mind strays and you get back. And you know, if you do meditation, same thing. Like your mind's gonna stray, and then you're gonna get back. You know, there's a lot of things I think that are more powerful. Jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai for, you know, works for me, right? But judo, wrestling, whatever, martial arts, period, boxing, all of them. um, but for me, it helps me sleep for one. That's a big one because I'm a gigantic proponent of good, strong sleep. I've spent about $10,000 on my bedroom setup to make it so it sleeps great, right? And it absolutely does. And it, you know, I do think it's important to have that clear mind at the end of the day, and you know, think about, you know, have an intention with something. You know, sometimes I do just want to clear my mind and just let it wander where it goes. But sometimes like there's an intention, and it's like, okay, I need to figure out what I want to do with this. And the way I do it is I put on the noise canceling headphones. I got the Bose, the real nice ones, they're awesome, pitch dark, pitch dark. And I put on classical music, usually violin music, and yeah, I make sure it's like at the 528 frequency or 528 hertz, and just relax. You know, and sometimes you just see where your mind goes, where it drifts off to. Sometimes, you know, maybe everything's don't really have anything to think about and you just want to go to sleep. It's the best, you know, bring your brain down sleep prescription I've ever had. So my point ultimately though is, look, there's a million other things, right? Like I do the cold plunge every morning, and not because it's killing inflammation and it's all right, but because like you get up and you do a hard thing first thing, like it sets the tone for the day, right? And you're gonna be in the present moment when you're sitting there freezing. Like I get, you know, I get it down. Yeah, I'm getting it down to like 37, 38 now. Like it's cold.
For how long?
I don't actually time it anymore.
Okay.
I was timing like 3 minutes before, but I kind of got out of the timing thing because I'm like, dude, I'm just doing a hard thing. Like, I don't really give a fuck about the time. I don't time my sauna anymore either. I'm just like, once I feel like getting out, I just get out. You know?
Dude, you're the man.
Yeah, it's like I just don't think it's necessary. And they say like 11 minutes a week is the ideal, and I know I'm getting 11 minutes a week, so who cares, right? But I try not to like overthink those things. You know, like I lift weights. You know, I do my jujitsu. You know, there's so many things that you can do before. Like I have a creative outlet, like I play guitar, right? You know, that gets you in the present moment. There's so many other things I think before you start worrying about meditation, I think can help a lot more.
Fair enough.
Just my opinion. You know, I'm sure that, you know, meditation coach, you know, whatever Hindu guy or some would argue that, you know, but
Right.
Who gives a shit? That's true.
yeah, I know what works for me.
Exactly.
Speaking of the mind, I got to ask you this. This question correlates with the mind. Who, in your opinion, was your toughest opponent?
Robbie Lawler.
Okay, and now in preparation for him, Mentally, did you have anything that you did to kind of prepare for him mentally? Because obviously, you know, with television and being in the fight world, you hear about all the stuff that he's done. I'm sure you watch tape on him, you know what I mean? You have these images, right? You know the reputation. You as a fighter can assess him as a fighter and know how talented he is. What did you do for that? Did you do anything mentally? Did you have any mental preparation for
I've
it?
always done tons of mental preparation.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I did. I don't remember specifically, but what I can say is I remember that was probably the first fight that I was in where I did exactly what I said before. Like I accepted the way things were, right? Like I was very accepting of everything, knowing like how big of an opportunity it was. It was a title contender match. It was a main event on Fox. You know, I just accepted like this is what it is. You know, just put in the work, you know, that's all you can do,
Yeah.
you know, and that's that helped, that paid a lot of dividends for me, helped me a lot throughout my career was just, you know, I'm gonna put in the work. Like I know what's necessary. I put it in. And then when you go walk out there, like you can just accept it. Like it's cool. Like you're not going to win every one unless you're Jon Jones, you know, on steroids or whatever. But,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
but you know, like if you lose, like you wake up the next morning and, you know, my kids are still there. They still love me.
Yeah.
You know, the sun's still going to come up.
Yeah.
Yep. I still got to bite down on my mouthpiece tomorrow and keep walking forward. Right. So,
Right on.
Awesome, rock and
So
roll.
you just brought that up, so we got to touch on that. I know you're very against steroids, right? That's something
I'm
that's
very against a lot. Okay. So that's a touchy subject, right?
okay.
So I don't like the way that it's been done in the UFC.
Could you explain?
So originally the way it was you were tested the night of the fight only, right? By the commission, right? The UFC wanted it out of their hands. I would want it out of my hands too if I were in their position, right? They don't want the liability. Obviously, guys are going to be doing steroids then, and then cycling off and you know coming in. That's no good system, right? And then they bring in USADA. USADA didn't provide a better system. Guys like me who are kind of, you know, middle of the pack in terms of pay, like I can't afford to beat their system. Guys like Conor, he's beating the system. I promise you, right? You know, with all due respect, if I had his money, I would have beat the system too. It's just the way the system is designed, right? That's the way the system still is now. So ethically, yeah, I'm totally against steroids. And I had always made the decision to not do them and not cheat. The fact that someone would take that risk, I don't have anything against them for doing it. Like, and that's been a newer thing that I felt like I would have said the opposite a few years ago, but looking back, I'm like, you know, Jon Jones, for instance, like is most likely done steroids, but he's still number one greatest of all time, right?
Right, yeah.
And no one's gonna argue that. So it's like, okay, so you know, what did he lose in this? You know,
For you, did it bother? Was there? I mean, this is just a question. Then, was there anyone that you kind of felt like, this guy's got to be on something? Or you
Johnny
didn't?
Hendricks for sure.
I was, you know, yeah. I was like,
God, yeah, yeah.
I mean, so
I mean, it was because it was such a clear drop off after USADA. I
Yeah.
fought him the last card before USADA came in,
Mhm.
and it was such a clear drop off. And you know, again, you know, I could be mad about it because you know, I can be proud of myself that ethically I held up to my standard, which was not to do it. But like, if I could go back again, like I'd probably have done it,
Mhm.
yeah, and end up beating his, you know. And you know, I could have before USADA, like I probably could have done it and
Right.
got away with it. And it's like, well, if you can do it and get away with it, is it really cheating?
Right. It just seems like it's one of those things where like kind of more upsetting because I'm like, dude, I'm coming in here clean, bro. And like, it's like you're kind of cheating and we're on this playing level. Like we're two warriors supposed to be fighting, but you're doing a little extra that we're not supposed to be doing. So it's kind of like, come on, dog. Like it was kind of more annoying. Like,
Well, yeah,
push you off at that, like on that and be like,
no, that's exactly it. It's like, come on, dog.
You
But
respect that, man.
it's not, you know, like if you care about your opponents in UFC, like you're selling yourself short. Right?
no, for sure. Yeah.
Like you cannot care about the motherfucker,
right.
right? You're there for yourself, and you don't get more respect or love because you didn't do them. right? You get respect and love from winning.
Right.
Everybody loves Jon Jones. We know he did steroids. I don't think anybody's actually doubts that. Anybody that's going to look deep inside himself, like, dude, he probably did them, right? 90% chance. But he's still the most greatest of all time.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's like, it's such a touchy subject, man, because it's like, again, it's just an ethics thing.
Right.
And it's like, well, how much ethics do we need to have when we're, trying to kill each other?
Yeah.
It's a thin line.
People watching at home, right? How can you obviously for people that aren't professional athletes and don't know, how can you kind of assess that somebody's on steroids? Obviously, they bulk up and stuff like that, but if they're not professional athletes, like, and we're talking about Conor McGregor on steroids, and he obviously has the finances to kind of get around it. Can you explain like how that operates, like how that works, how he can get around it with the finances, or what?
Well, I don't know.
But you know, like, but you know,
I kind of wish I knew.
You know, but you had mentioned it though, right? You had said like some people.
Well, if you look at like the Tour de France, right? Like they're all the top guys are on steroids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cat and mouse game. We know this. Like every single sport, like we know, like if you can afford it, you're beating it. Like it's a cat and mouse game. That's why USADA was like holding the samples for like 7 years. Is they're like, in 7 years we're gonna figure out, look back and know that you did, which I don't know if that even matters now. But
what the hell cares? 7 years later, what the fuck, I'm done.
Right. Well, I guess like Hall of Fames or whatever, right? When they're looking back, but I don't know how to assess it. I don't know how to beat it. I don't. I mean, the only assessment that I could make would be like, if your body was one way and now it's a different way very quickly.
Right.
I mean, that's, I can't give good answers on that, I guess.
Fair enough.
I'm not an expert on it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. What was it like sparring Wanderlei Silva, and what is he like in real life? Because that was one of Ross and I's favorite fighters back in the day. You know what I'm saying? He was such a savage. What's he like? Could you kind of give us a story about?
We sparred light actually.
Yeah.
And then until we didn't.
Yeah. Could you talk about that? Like break it down. People are going to be dying to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, we were sparring light, and then once I started catching them, outskilling them, we weren't sparring light no more. That's about all there is to it.
Did he kick it up a notch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was he jabbing at all, or was he just throwing the what? No, just throwing, right? Like he does.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What was that like then when you're in that situation? All of a sudden he's like,
I wasn't sure what to do because for one, I was in his gym. And there's like 20 Brazilians around. And I'm like, why can't I'm not going to take off the gloves for this guy. Of course, the respect. Like I looked up to Wanderlei too, and
yeah.
So it kind of just threw me off. But I was like, it is what it is. He kind of I expected that out of Wanderlei more so than the light sparring where we started.
Right.
So I was just kind of like, okay, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
If I die in here, I die.
I love you just had that mentality no matter what. You're like, dude, I'm driving my car, I die.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in a great mindset. I really do love talking to you and hearing that. I know you got a busy day. How is it? Let's go on what was the highest high point of your career, or how about life in general, that you hit it and you're like, man, I feel great today, or I did this and this is where I wanted to be, or this is the moment I'm taking it in?
Oh, in my career, it was certainly when I fought Eric Silva here in Cincinnati. It was a great fight, memorable fight. I won, and my kids got to come into Octagon after I was a main event, and so they came in. So that was probably number one in my career. In life, I mean, fuck, I don't know. I don't know if I've even hit it yet. I mean, the day my kids were born, all of them was pretty cool. But I'm kind of like stoic about shit. I was like, all right, I got a kid now. What do you do? I was like celebrating. Yeah, I don't think I've hit it yet, to be honest.
No, that's good. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, you kicked that dude's ass, bro. That was sick, dude. That was obviously a highlight in your here, there. But I mean, that was a fight on your part. I mean,
it's
and
a fun one.
I mean, nothing against him, but I mean, you kind of like he was kind of coming up, and you're like, nah, you chill out, Blair.
That was another juiced out to his guard guy.
That's awesome.
Was there anybody that you had actual disdain for when you're fighting? Was there anybody like, man, I really don't like this guy, I want to f him up?
Probably the guy that I disliked the most was Cowboy.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of got that personality. I mean, I'm cool with him now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he kicked me in my face and knocked me out. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, bro, we're cool.
Goes back to that kick it in the face.
yeah.
What was about him that kind of, because we don't see that, right?
I don't know. He just gives, even what you guys see. I mean, I don't know. He just gives me that vibe, like, you know, like he's cooler than you or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I mean, he's cool though, I guess.
Who are you closest with? What other fighter is like a brother to you? Is there anybody that you have a strong rapport relationship with?
Nah, I do my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always
I
been
keep
like-
my circle small, bro.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Champions hang out with champions, brother.
Exactly. Yeah. I got to ask you this too. You're on Joe Rogan, right? So many, it's the biggest platform in the world, right? What was that experience like? And could you give us any stories about Joe that we don't see on camera?
That experience, I was scared as but that was like more nerves than going into a fight. Like I didn't sleep the night before.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was up, bro. Like I was having dreams. I guess I did sleep a little bit because I had dreams, but like I had dreams that, because, you know, we forget on these podcasts, like even if you're only getting like 500 downloads a month, right? Or 500 listeners. Like if I walked into a room with 500 people, I'd feel like this is amazing. You know, like you get nervous about that, right? Like you're public speaking, 500 people. That's a lot to a podcast. That's nothing, right? I knew Joe had, you know, millions of listeners. So I was having dreams that like I was in front of millions of people, you know, and that's all I could think the whole time is like even as I'm like walking into the studio, like in my head, I'm seeing millions of people. And I'm like, bro, like I'm walking out to do an interview publicly in front of millions of people. And I'd done big interviews before, but, you know, I'd listened to it so many times, which I'm sure we all have, you know, and had all these plans and thoughts what I was going to say and this and that. And then you get in there and you're like, oh, like you're just a regular guy, you know, like you're just cool, you know? But that really f***ed me up because I was so exhausted and so nervous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had too many, like, I don't like to interview at all myself, like, because I had a lot of like premeditated responses, you know, because I knew he's gonna ask about certain things, you know, and I had these thoughts. I'm gonna talk about this, you know, and then it was a good learning experience. Right now, like I do the podcast, like it's just free flow, and you know, just talk. Like I don't think about it. It's like just say what you want to say, right?
Absolutely,
it's what a podcast's supposed to be.
Yeah,
That's what Joe's the best at, you know.
Absolutely. What I gotta ask you this: what is your favorite part of martial arts? What's your personal favorite part of it? What do you love about fighting the most?
Oh, fighting or
Yeah,
martial arts?
well, both.
Yeah. Well, the martial arts, I mean, my favorite thing is watching the growth of human beings, period. Right? Like I said, I'm going to go to my gym here after this, and I'm going to see so many people that lost weight, improved their relationships, got sober. So many got sober. You know, just so much life improvement in one small little spot. And that's what the martial arts brought to them. And that's very inspiring and fulfilling for myself. In terms of fighting, the thing I love the most is being scared.
Really?
Like I don't, you know, that's the thing. Like I don't get scared like at, you know, outside of fighting, right? And it's like we kind of search for that, right? I do kind of stupid things here and there that scare me. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to bench 315 right now, right? And I get, and I've had, you know, 310 up on there before, and you feel that bar, and you're like, oh, it's scary. You know, you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. You know.
Right.
But right now I'm at 305 is my max.
The West Side Barbell.
I go there sometimes.
I see the hat.
Yeah. What's that?
I see the hat.
Yeah. I go there sometimes. I'll go there to when I'm finally ready to hit the 315. I
Nice.
think. But I don't know if I'm get there or not. With I got elbow injuries and shoulders and.
Okay. Fair
You guys hit 315?
Shit.
No.
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 I'd like to, brother.
Really?
No, I never hit it though.
You guys look pretty jacked, man.
Oh, come on, man. It's all you, brother.
So I'm trying to get a 315 bench and a 4 or 5 squat right now.
There you go.
Yeah, and I got 395 and 305.
Oh, you're right there, man.
I'm right there, but man, those last 10 pounds is
The game changer, brother.
yeah, that's a lot, bro. like people think that they're like, oh, you're right there, man, no problem. But like every pound
Yeah.
is
there, but I'm right there already back there.
Yeah.
Have you ever sat back and just thought, kicked up your legs, and you're like, damn, you've came a long way. You're one of the best fighters in the world. You're a fan favorite. Have you ever just sat back and just think,
No,
pat yourself? Never.
no.
Not one time.
Something
That's
I learned.
hard.
Something I learned from Louis, man.
Yeah.
One day I was sitting with him, and after a training session, and I was looking around his office, and I was like, bro, like, where's all your medals? Where's all your trophies? And and he goes, it's not about what I've done, it's about what I'm going to do.
Fair
And
enough.
he was 63, 64 at that time.
Beast, dude.
Yeah, and I was like, what do you mean it's about what you're going to do, bro? Like, what are you going to do? Retire? But like,
He didn't even know that word, dude. That was not even a word in his
not a
dictionary.
word, bro. So that thought, that mentality right there, like, changed me 100%. And I don't look back at all.
Okay.
Straight ahead, brother.
Yeah.
Hit the gas.
And even like, a lot of these types of conversations, this is my only looking back. Like, I do these podcasts all the time, and, they're always asking me about my past and, talk about UFC fighting and stuff. And in my head, like, I got bigger, better things I'm working on, like, that wasn't compared to what I'm going to do.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Good for you,
It's
too.
just not going to be in the public light as much, right? Like, at the UFC, you're just doing it in front of millions of people, and they all love you and think that you're special, and, and girls want to show you their tits. And the dudes want to be you.
Yeah.
And a lot more dudes that want to be you than girls. So it's I'm the dude magnet of all dude. I'm the supreme dude magnet of all dude magnets. But yeah, that's how my mind works, man. It's like what am I gonna do next, bro? Like, what I did, I don't care.
Have you always had the mentality of, even throughout your career, even in the early days, were you always like, there's something bigger than this? There's something bigger than this. Even after you
Well, that's the thing. When I was in the UFC, or before the UFC, the UFC was the biggest thing, and then I was in the UFC, the title was the biggest thing, and then after the title, or when I was kind of older and I knew I wasn't probably going to get a title, that's when I started looking towards the next thing, and I kind of fought for money after that a little bit, so I could start working towards the next thing, and that's where I'm at now.
Fair enough. All right.
Awesome.
We know you got a lot of stuff going on right now in life. So I want to end it on this. What do you ultimately want your legacy to be? What do you want your legacy? What legacy do you want to instill in the world? Or leave behind?
I don't think about it a ton, because it's like, again, I'm not religious and shit, I don't know if there's an afterlife. Maybe there is, but it's like, we're just on a rock floating in space, bro. And, one day we're going to be the ancient Americans, and in a couple generations, I'm going to be forgotten. You know what I mean? So it's like, who gives a shit, really?
I got to chime in though, because you whether you know it or not, you've affected so many people in a positive way with your story.
Yeah.
Doing interviews like this, and just your fights, teaching your students at your gym, like, you have such an impact with who you are as a man. You know what I mean? And ultimately, I think you can't get a better legacy than what you've already instilled on others, because at the end of the day, you can't take any of this with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And that's so, like, going back to, like, I get to put the meaning where I want to put the meaning, and that is what gives me meaning. I don't think about my legacy though, right? I think about, what gives me meaning on a day-to-day basis, and that gives me meaning. But in terms of, how am I going to be remembered when I die? Like, well, I'm going to be forgotten at some point too, right? Like, I might be remembered for a generation, 2 generations, maybe 10, right? Eventually, like, there's going to be a day the sun's not even there anymore. It's like,
Right.
it's like if you just, if I zoom out far enough, it's like, this little blip, even being remembered for, like Marcus Aurelius, like, he'll be forgotten, it's like, it's all forgotten at some point. So it's like, do what brings you the most meaning and roll on with it.
Well, at this point right now in your stage in life, I think you're doing amazing things, brother. And honestly, I appreciate you being on this podcast, but also what you're doing. I think you're touching a lot of people. If you do know it or you don't, I just want you to let you know you really are, man.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome, dude, for you doing that. So
Can we what can we plug for you? Can you talk about everything that you got going on so people can check it out? Gym,
I'm in my gym at Immortal Martial Arts on Instagram. My Instagram at I'm Immortal, and Twitter, X, I guess it is now, at I'm Immortal. the Immortal Matt Brown Facebook, got my newsletter, Immortal Wisdom on Substack, and then I guess my creatine gummies, the course. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
What's that going to be?
yeah,
Called?
those are on Dynamic Striking. I already have 6 of them up. Just my next one is going to be on Sparring. It's just on Dynamic Striking. You can go on there and check it out. Got the creatine gummies. I always got a plug, right? At try_create, which is a creatine gummies, which are amazing. Everybody should be taking creatine. And of course, at the Immortal Coffee, you gotta get you some up.
Good shirt right there, brother.
The best coffee, right?
Hell yeah.
You know?
Awesome.
I think that's all my plugs for today.
Awesome. All right, Matt. We greatly appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, brother.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
All right. Awesome. Guys, let's cut to the chase. I made an ebook. It's got over 700 methods and strategies to build your YouTube channel to get views. It actually works. I made this because over the 3 years prior to this podcast, I bought all the courses, spent thousands of hours watching all these YouTube videos, and none of them actually give you any information. This ebook has 700 plus secret strategies and methods that only top YouTube influencers use. I promise it works. Money back guarantee. Trust me, go buy it now. Half off.